So Exodus's latest tease hid its main plot in this coded message, which is the Braille alphabet. Translated words from this include arise, dying, and cure, all hinting at a shockingly dark story that can only be solved by us. Before going over why this message is actually a warning, we'll begin our decoding here, the reason why the Exodus tease dropped in the first place, the Game Awards. At the 2023 Game Awards, Matthew McConaughey introduced Exodus to sci-fi fans for the first time ever. And ever since then, we've been desperate for any glimpse of Exodus, which we did see a bit of last year around December as well in a full-length gameplay trailer. It all looked really fun and gave us a better sense of how we'll switch between pure tactical gameplay versus stealth. But it only included gameplay. We still haven't seen any hints of Exodus's story in a big trailer until now. On Twitter, Exodus announced that a new trailer is going to premiere live at the Game Awards on December 11th. But this time, they also released a cryptic teaser to go along with it that included a directive to look closer. And upon looking closer, I noticed that the next section of the teaser included Braille. Looking at the full 15-second teaser, we can break it up into 4 sections. The first section includes a fancy phone searching for a new signal before finding it. Then we see the update incoming section with the Braille behind it. Looking at it in slow-mo, the Braille is simply moving downward and being replaced at the top with more Braille. After translating it all, the Braille coming in from the top is repeating what we saw initially, so we only need to look at this one frame to figure out all the hidden hints. Before getting to what each of these words are though, let's finish off the rest of the teaser. Section 3 shows us our main protagonist, June, walking towards some strange plant-like protrusions. And the final section of the teaser shows us TGA 2025, along with the date of the Game Awards, December 11th, 2025. So after looking at the whole teaser, here's what I found. Section 4 and 1 are pretty straightforward. I didn't notice any weird clues in either of those parts despite going frame by frame in each one. There was some funky text during Section 1, but I couldn't find any way to crack what it could mean. There weren't any Caesar decryptions possible where the letters are all shifted by a set amount, which is what we saw during the N7-day teaser about a month ago. So assuming there is nothing to be found in Section 1, the middle sections are where the juicy hints are hidden. We already translated one of them, which was simply the Game Awards. A clear freebie because they already told us we were getting a trailer then. But the other 6 hints all relate to what Exodus's main plot is going to hold, like this one. Arise, Child of Orion, which directly relates to who we'll play as in Exodus. On Exodus's website, exodusgame.com, we can learn more about our main character named June. June is a customizable protagonist, and we can pick their gender, but we've mainly seen the default male June in all the trailers. In the latest tease hinted at for this Game Awards, it looks like we'll also be seeing male June again. Back to the website, here's the section that applies to the first Braille hint. You are June, the heir of Orion Aslan, a legendary traveler from the world of Lidon. And the first hint from the tease was, Arise, Child of Orion. Since we know that June is the child of this legendary traveler Orion, I think what this is hinting at is us going on our own traveler's journey. For those unfamiliar with Exodus's main premise, the game will focus on the effects of time dilation. If you've watched Interstellar before, it dealt with the same concept, where Matthew's character was subjected to the gravity of a black hole, resulting in time slowing down for him, but speeding up for his loved ones back home. In Exodus, time dilation like this also occurs, but it specifically happens after traveling through the gates of heaven. In the very similar adjacent sci-fi Mass Effect, this is basically like mass relays, but there's one key difference that sets them apart. The mass relay system uses element 0 to lower the mass of a ship, allowing it to move faster relative to anything else. In this way, only by using element 0, faster than light or FTL travel can be achieved without experiencing time dilation. However, Exodus's gates of heaven are different. When using one, the person is subjected to FTL speeds, but with no special element 0 involved, time slows down only for the person using the gate. For everyone else, time continues on, but at an accelerated rate compared to the traveler who used the gate. As a result, the traveler who went through the gate upon returning home would find that years have gone by for loved ones, even though it had only been days since they last saw them. This is why the Traveler's Creed reads, "We sail on the edge of light speed, where time moves differently. As each day goes by, years pass for those we leave behind. Our service, our sacrifice, discovers worlds, seeds hope, breaks empires." We are the travelers. When the Braille hinted at June needing to arise while also mentioning Orion, I believe this traveler's journey is what it's hinting at. The main story of Exodus will likely involve June needing to become a traveler and undertake the Traveler's Creed to sail beyond light speed. As to why June would need to do this, the second Braille hint tells us why. Protect Lidon's future. From the Exodus website again, we can learn more about where Lidon is and why its future needs protecting, as well as the first ever exodus humanity took from a dying Earth. At around 2200 AD, governments and other powerful organizations began launching fleets of arc ships out into the galaxy, seeking a new home for humanity. And eventually, at around 41,500 AD, which is almost 40,000 years later, Lidon was established. And on Lidon, after 2 centuries of struggling existence, a human traveler named Orion Aslan emerged as Lidon's leader and savior. And Orion is, of course, June's father. So if protect Lidon's future is being hinted at, then clearly something is going on that's putting Lidon at risk. And maybe these strange plant protrusions we'll see at the Game Awards have something to do with it. Based on why June's moving towards it, I think it's related to the third Braille tease, which is seize your destiny. And the reason this was teased is likely because of June's incredibly special abilities. Back on the Exodus website, it says how June has inherited the gift of neural induction from their mother Ava, who was born of celestial heritage. This means that we are able to interact with celestial technology unlike other humans. And while this sounds like a really cool chosen one arc for our protagonist, this is actually one of the wildest backstories June could have had. And that's because Ava being of celestial origin means that their mother was one of humanity's greatest enemies. The website explains how green signals were sent up by those first human inhabitants who found the Centauri cluster and claimed it as humanity's new home. As a quick reminder, humanity left a dying Earth and traveled over 16,000 light years to the Centauri cluster, where planets and moons like Lidon exist. But here's the fun twist that makes the Celestials humanity's greatest enemy. As a result of time dilation, 25,000 years of evolution separate those now living in Centauri on arc ships from Earth. And now, for those early humans who arrived in the Centauri cluster long before Orion Aslan did, they've evolved into something alien. The original humans who first arrived in Centauri have morphed and become a diverse range of alien peoples collectively known as the Celestials. This human yet alien-like person is the type of being June's mother likely was. This element of humans being aliens is by far the coolest aspect of Exodus that'll probably result in fascinating plot threads. But before getting super sidetracked with that, let's get back to the teases. The third Braille tease said, "Seize your destiny." And I believe that June's destiny is heavily tied to their ability to use celestial tech, unlike other humans, because their mother was a celestial. And very likely, this unique ability is why June is specifically being called out to protect Lidon's future. As to why it even needs protecting, the fourth hint tells us why. This translates to a very clear warning of, our world is dying. Which means that June's home planet Lidon is in grave danger, leading to a shockingly dark outcome if they fail their mission. Hidden away in an obscure lore page, it details how Lidon wasn't originally in the Goldilocks zone that's needed for human survival. Like we saw quite often in Mass Effect, if a planet didn't have enough oxygen, Shepard often had to wear a helmet when on the surface. And if there wasn't any water, then humans avoided making colonies there at all, because it simply wasn't practical. Lidon was in a similar situation, where the moon wasn't in the right zone for human life to live comfortably. However, during the Remnant era, before Orion's time, a newfound piece of technology emerged, called the Archimedes engine. And this engine had crazy awesome capabilities. By using it, it could move entire planets or moons into life-sustaining Goldilocks zones. And not only that, it also stabilized orbits, controlled atmospheres, and could terraform barren worlds into new Eden worlds. But as with anything that seems too good to be true, all the engines have a catch. All of them, after thousands of years, will begin to degrade and eventually fail, resulting in catastrophic damage to the planets or moons they assist with. Overnight, the homes of humans can suddenly turn into a hellscape without the atmospheric stabilizers or terraforming ability of the engines. And now the same is happening on Lidon. On one of the obscure pages, we can see it say, "Traveler, the fate of Lidon depends on you. Can you overcome the challenges you face, unlock the secrets of the Archimedes engine, and save our home?" So clearly, based on this, June will have to fix the Archimedes engine that brought Lidon prosperity in order to prevent their world from dying. And if they don't, then the consequences will be incredibly dark. Lidon's people will, out of the blue, begin to starve because their lands can no longer grow foods they need to survive. They might even begin to suffocate because the atmosphere is no longer sustainable for human survival. If June isn't able to fix Lidon's engine, their people will begin dying very quickly, which is likely why the fifth tease is save all of us. Lidon's people are pleading with June to save them by going on a traveler's journey in search of a way to repair the Lidon engine. June's father, Orion, was the one who brought their people prosperity and stability. But now, during June's time, the Lidon engine is going to mark the end of their long journey from Earth. And to make matters worse, the fifth hint shows that it's not just the Lidon engine that June has to worry about, because June also has to find a cure. As a quick recap before jumping into this new wrinkle, here were the previous 5 hints. Excluding the Game Awards, we've translated Arise, Child of Orion, Protect Lidon's Future, Seize Your Destiny, and Our World is Dying. All of these teases hint at June needing to arise to protect Lidon by using their destiny as a human celestial child. Otherwise, Lidon will die. And now the fifth tease is hinting at something completely new. June will have to find a cure in order to prevent something bad from happening. Now, if we assume that all of these teases are connected, then this cure has to also relate to Lidon as well. And there's only one other tidbit that Exodus has teased so far that might relate to a cure, which is a phenomenon affecting Lidon called the Rot. Once again, on an obscure page of the Exodus website, we can see that the Rot is a technological virus that's slowly degrading all of Lidon's advanced technology, including the critical machines June's world depends on for survival. Now, even though the Rot is called a technological virus, it is still technically a virus. So potentially, what this teaser implies is how June will have to find a cure in their travels to eliminate the Rot from destroying Lidon. We might already be seeing glimpses of the Rot in the 15-second tease, with these strange plant-like protrusions. Just looking at it paused, this walkway June's on seems human-made, as well as the opening archway here. But the plant-like stuff seems pretty ominous and is almost enveloping the sides of the archway. So could this be the Rot invading on human-made structures like the technological virus that it is? Or is this something else entirely that's native to Lidon's architecture? If this isn't the Rot, then maybe June has to find a completely different cure, but we just don't know enough to figure it out. But the good news is, we'll probably find out how June will seize their destiny very soon. The Game Awards is just a week away, which I will be streaming live, so make sure to subscribe to catch my live breakdown of the Exodus trailer then. Until that drops, watch this video next on my breakdown of Mass Effect 5's latest tease from N7 Day. See you there.